Morning Year 4, this is a maths lesson for my group and it's Monday the 8th of February and today we're starting a new unit about geometry. Geometry is the study of shapes. Now just as a starter task, I've put this front cover from the workbook at school on here, and it's also on Teams for you to have a closer look if you want to. Can you name me all those shapes that are on there? Have a little look. There's nothing on there you haven't seen before in previous year groups or previous learning. Have a little pause now and have a go at naming those shapes. Okay, so when you were naming them, I'm hoping that you were thinking about counting the number of sides to work out the name of the shape. I've just got a few on here that we'll do together. This first one here is a hexagon. How do I know? Well, I'm going to count the sides. I'm just going to make sure, children, you know what you're doing when you're counting the sides. I always do this. I always put a line through the edge of the side of the shape so I know that I've counted it. I don't count it twice. So here I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I know a six-sided shape is a hexagon. Okay, this is the second one I need you to do. Count these sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm whoops. That one's gone a bit crazy. Just undo that. 4. Okay, there. And I'm hoping you didn't think four-sided square. It's not a square. It looks nothing like a square. We need to be knowing that these four-sided shapes, like this, that don't have all those four right angles that we know a square has, quadrilateral. Boys and girls, if you spell this word correctly over the next few days when we're learning, you'll be extra team points. It's a very difficult spelling, quadrilateral, okay? That bit at the beginning, that prefix quad, meaning four, like a quad bike. That's how I always remember it. So a four-sided shape, four wheels on a quad bike, quadrilateral. And this last one, what's this shape? Let's count the sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So even though it's hard to identify as a hexagon, I know all six-sided shapes are hexagons, and I hope you had a go at identifying the others. And if you haven't done, you could get your pencil now and you could identify them and count the sides like that. Right, some key vocabulary in today's lesson. We are going to need to know what a triangle is, and we're going to need to know what a quadrilateral is. Now, I've just talked about quadrilateral, that quad at the beginning, meaning four. Now, what about this triangle? I know that everybody knows that means a three-sided shape in my group. And this bit at the beginning, tri, remember, that's like a prefix, isn't it? It says it's like meaning three, like tricycle, three-wheeling bike. Triangle, can you see it? It's like the word angle next to it. So it means three angles as well as three sides, three angles. Okay, and we're going to come across some more vocabulary that I'll talk about a bit later to do with angles. There's these three words here: acute, obtuse and right. Okay, and we're going to look at those in a little bit more detail further through the lesson, but this is our key vocabulary for today. So what am I asking us to learn today? We're going to be able to identify different types of angles. And the types of angles that we're looking at are these three we've just mentioned: acute, obtuse and right. Right, let's have a little think about these three first of all. Okay, so acute angles are angles that look like this. Remember, an angle is the movement from two lines when you go from one to another, and this space in between is the angle that's created. Okay, and this is turned from here to here, and it says 62 degrees, and it's acute angle. Now, I like to think about acute angles because it looks like it's got the word cute. Can you see inside the word acute? Cute always reminds me of something small and sweet and tiny, and so this here is small, isn't it? It's a small angle, so I'm always going to remember that that's acute angle. So try and remember it like that, children. That's what I used to do when I was at school. We've got right angles here, which we'll talk about in a minute. Now, right angles make that special L shape, like that, okay? And we know we've got 4 right angles in a square and in a rectangle. And then we've got our third one, obtuse. Okay, now an obtuse angle, there's an example here, 135 degrees, is bigger than 90 degrees. So it goes to 90 degrees, but then it turns a bit more and becomes obtuse, okay, greater than 90 degrees. And those are the 3 main ones in this lesson that we're going to come across, but I do want to mention some of the others just for reference that you might need later in the week. We've got this one down here, straight angle. Okay, now a straight angle, I wonder if you can see, children, it's turned to 90 and then another 90. So it's the same as 2 right angles. And those of you that are bright and clever amongst us can see that 1 right angle is 90. Here it's turned 180, which means that is 2 right angles. This is an interesting one. I always think it looks like a Pac-Man face underneath. It's the angle that goes the other way around, the reflex angle. Okay, that one's more for year 5, but we might come across it in some of our learning this week. A complete angle is when this line has gone all the way round and all the way back to the big where it started, like a clock, all the way around. That's a 360-degree turn. It started there and it's turned all the way around there, all the way around there, all the way around there, and come back up to the beginning. So those are our angles there. Okay, now this link above is a video I made for Mr. Wakelam's maths group a couple of weeks ago, and it shows you how to make an angle measurer that you can use at home. And when you've gone onto this site here, the YouTube site here, and watched me showing you, you can see that you've got yourself a really good L-shaped angle measure, and it should look like that. And you're going to need it for today's lesson. Okay, so let's have a look then. We're going to look for acute angles, right angles and obtuse angles in these triangles. Just a reminder, when the 2 straight lines meet, that's when the angle is formed. That's the bit we're thinking of, the corner, when the 2 lines meet. So here's my right angle measurers, and I'm going to show you now. If you get your right angle measurer, you can, if it fits perfectly into the corner, then it's a right angle. Oh, go away. So I can pick this up now and show you if it'll work for me. It goes, look at that, it goes, fits right in and makes that L shape for me there. Can you see how perfectly that fits in? That is a right angle. It's perfectly fitted in. Okay, now I'm looking at this triangle here, and to me these angles here don't look as if they are right angles, and they don't look bigger than a right angle either. I'm guessing that they are going to be acute angles, but I'm going to get my right angle measure and just check. If I put it in there, you can see there's no way it's going to fit. It's smaller than that, okay? And then if I was to turn that round, if it'll let me just turn it round and try and fit it in this corner over here, it won't fit in here either. Okay, can you see? Oh, it's quite tricky to do on here, children, but with yours, yes, this is too small, that angle, okay? So I'm thinking those 3 there look like they are acute angles. Now this triangle at the bottom, when you first look at it, this corner here looks like it could be a right angle. It looks like it's going to make that really good L shape. So here's my L shape, and I'm going to try and fit it. Oh, I'm going to try and fit it. Go away. It will be so much easier in school and with the bored children, but never mind. I'm going to try and fit it into there. Can you see? Let's try my patience today. There. Now it's not a right angle. Can you see that line is wider? It's turned from there to there and it doesn't fit in. That's actually the obtuse angle. So when you use your right angle measurer, you're going to try and fit it inside the shapes that you've got as a task today. And if it fits, it's going to be a right angle. If it looks too small, it's going to be acute. And if it's too big, then it's going to be obtuse. So how are you going to show those angles? So there's certain ways in maths you can show different angles on shapes. The right angle is a really good one. The right angle, when you show a right angle, you show it as a tiny little square in the corner because it's making its own little sort of L-shaped square if you put it in there. So when you're marking right angles today, mark them as little tiny squares. Okay. If you're showing acute angles, these are all little angles. Remember, cute, tiny little angles. Okay, you show them as a little tiny curved colouring in like that. Okay. And if you're showing an obtuse angle, it's just going to be a larger, wider turn. So you're going to colour in a bit more and show me that it's wider like that. Okay. Just a few reminders on here. Acute angles are less than a right angle, aren't they? Because there's my right angle. So if it's acute, it's going to be less. And obtuse angles are more than a right angle, but less than 2 right angles. Remember, 2 right angles was that straight angle I showed you at the beginning of the lesson. Show acute angles, obtuse angles, and right angles in each of these quadrilaterals. If you had that at school, you would be asked now to show those angles using the format I've just shown you. So what would it look like? Acute angles in here, tiny coloured in corners, can you see? Right angles, there they are, with the squares in these corners showing that right angle, because I've had my right angle measure and pushed it into there and it fits like a perfect glove. And obtuse angles, those really wide angles, are shown on P, Q and R at the bottom. That's what you're going to be doing today, something a bit like that. Your task looks like this. Okay, you're going to be asked to identify some of the angles. So you need that right angle measurer to see if it will fit. Make sure you cut it really carefully so that you get a really good straight L shape for that task. And the second task is where you actually asked to draw some figures. Figures are just shapes, different name for shape. So you're asked to draw some shapes on there. Make sure you use a ruler when you're drawing shapes, please, children. Mark the angles on there too and show me the angles. That task is on Teams, as is this challenge. Order these angles from smallest to largest, okay? And see if you can have, I'm not going to do that with you now, might talk about that next lesson. Have a little go at that if you can. You can upload to Teams or you can email me. Thank you for the work that has been coming in, children. Very impressed. Just a reminder for those of you that haven't yet attended our weekly Zoom meeting for the Year 4. It's Thursday mornings at 10:30 and your parents should have an email from Mrs. Bell somewhere in their inbox. Now, it may have gone into the junk mail, so get your parents to check their junk mail. And it was sent out 2 or 3 weeks ago now, so it might be further back in the junk mail. But you'd be more than welcome to join us and see all your friends. And this Thursday, it's a quiz, so it should be a fun one. Hope to see you there. Okay, boys and girls, well, I hope that's a good introduction for you to angles. Have fun making your angle measurer, and I look forward to seeing your work on Teams shortly. Goodbye.